This is round 2 of the leaf outline. So I'm going to be working this round in a contrast colour just so you can see the stitches and see where I'm working them. You're likely to be working in quite a dark colour, whether or not you're following the same colourway as me. And given that this is designed to be a stash busting project, you know, you could be working in any colour, but if you are working in one of the darker colours, it's going to be quite difficult to see what you're doing. So make sure you're working in good light. And also, it's worth spending a bit of time just really looking closely at the stitches and seeing if you can easily see which are your double crochet stitches and which are your slip stitches, because that will make things a little bit easier if you can identify the difference between those two stitches. There's no really difficult stitches in this round. Again, it's all double crochet and slip stitch. You just need to be careful that you're putting them in the right places, and be aware that for most of this round you're working into the stitches as you would normally, so going into both those threads at the top. But for some of the stitches, the slip stitches that you're doing here and here, you're going to be working through the back of the loop, so it does change. So sometimes it's into the stitch, sometimes it's into the back loop. So just, you know, follow the pattern carefully and take your time. So we'll start with 3 slip stitches. So where we began on the previous round, we've got a chain and 3 DCs. So we've got a slip stitch here where you completed the previous round, and now we're going to work 3 slip stitches into those DCs. Then we're going to miss 6 slip stitches. So there's 3 here along the stem, 1, 2, 3, and there's 3 at the beginning of your next leaf. So 1, 2, 3. So we're actually going to work into the very first double crochet around this leaf. So again, we're working right into that stitch with 2 DCs, and then we've got 3 slip stitches. Now these are going to be worked into the back loop. And then we've got 3 DCs, and an increase. Three DCs, and an increase. Three DCs, and an increase. Then it's 4 DCs, and 3 slip stitches into the back loop. And then 2 DCs into the stitch, so you've worked your way around that leaf. Now you're going to miss these 3 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, and the next 3, 1, 2, 3. So that takes you into your stem. And we're going right into those stitches, and we've got 4 slip stitches. Then again we're going to miss 6 slip stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've got 2 DCs. Now we're ready to do a join. We're going to join these 2 leaves together here at the centres where the 3 slip stitches are. So this is a little bit tricky, and this is where you'll find something like this quite helpful. So we're working into the back loop. Take your hook out of your working stitch. Find the corresponding slip stitch that it needs to join to. So not your DCs, these are 2 DCs. We want to go into these 3 slip stitches. And we're just going to go into the back loop. Okay, so you might want to just open that up a little bit. And so our hook's out of our working stitch. We're going in the back of that slip stitch. Draw our working stitch through, and that's done. Second slip stitch, into the back of our slip stitch. On the opposite side, draw our stitch through. One more. Draw that through. Okay, so that's that join complete. Continuing around leaf number 3, I've got 3 DCs. Now we're working into the stitch again. And an increase. Same again, 3 DCs. And an increase. And again. And once more. Finish with 4 DCs. Now we're going to miss our next 2 double crochets. There's 3 DCs, 1, 2, 3 there, 2 down here, 1, 2, and 3 more, 1, 2, 3. Not sure that I pointed those out correctly, but in total there are 8 slip stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slip stitches, and 1 DC this end and 2 DCs that end. We're going to miss all of those stitches, so that's 11 stitches in total that we're missing. Okay, so we're going to work in here with a DC. And around this side of the leaf, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 DCs. increase, three DCs, and an increase, same again, and an increase. And then on this side of the leaf we've got 8 double crochets. Ready to start outlining leaf number 5. So I've just done my 8 DCs. Now I'm going to skip a number of stitches again. So this time I'm going to miss 1 DC here, 8 slip stitches and 2 DCs at the beginning of my leaf. So that's 11 stitches in total. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So that will take me to here. And I'll start with 3 DCs. One increase. And again. And again. Once more, 3 DCs. And an increase. And I've got 3 DCs. And 3 slip stitches, and these are worked through the back loop. Don't work them too tightly. Then 2 DCs into the whole stitch again. And I'm going to miss 6 slip stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm working along the stem. So into the whole stitch, and it's 4 slip stitches. Not too tight. And then I'm going to miss 6 slip stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm ready to work my way around the next leaf. So I've got 2 DCs. And 3 slip stitches, and again I need to join these to the corresponding slip stitches. I'm ready to join leaves 6 and 5 together here where the slip stitches are. So I've worked the first 2 DCs of leaf number 6. Now I'm doing my 3 slip stitches, and these are worked through the back of the loop, through the back loop. So I'm going to join to the corresponding slip stitches, so not those 2 DCs. I'll go into this first one here, open it up a little bit, pick up my working loop, draw it through. So that's the first one. Second one, again through the back loop, pick up your working stitch, draw it through. Third slip stitch, find the corresponding stitch through the back loop. Just need to open that up a little bit. And that completes that join. So I can carry on. Now I'm working into the stitch, so not through the back of the loop anymore. And 3 DCs. And an increase. 3 DCs and an increase. Same again. Then it's 4 DCs. Three slip stitches, and these are worked through the back loop. And 2 DCs. Miss 3 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, and the next 3, 1, 2, 3, takes you to your first DC on the stem. So we've got 4 slip stitches, now we're ready to work around our leaf number 7. So we're going to miss 6 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we can start work on this leaf. So we've got 2 DCs, now we need to do our join. So we've got 3 slip stitches worked through the back loop. So find the corresponding stitch. Now I've worked these a little bit too tight. You want to make sure that you keep these nice and loose so they're easier to work into. And then you're ready to carry on around the stitch, around the leaf. Okay, so we've only got one more join left to do here. So we're getting working my way around leaf number 7 here. So I've got 3 DCs to do. So I'm working right into the stitch now, not the back loop. 3 DCs and an increase. Same again. Same again. And then I've got 9 DCs to do around the rest of the leaf. That takes me to that very last DC. We're ready to start working our way around the base of the stem now. So this is a little bit tricky, if that wasn't tricky enough for you. So we've just done the last double crochet. So we've just finished the 9th double crochet around leaf number 7. I'm going to miss 6 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the first DC. Okay, so that's 7 stitches now that I'm going to miss out, and I'm going to work 2 double crochets, and that takes me to a corner. So on the previous round we had a DC, a chain and a DC all into the same space, and so I'm going to work another little corner in there. So I've got a DC, a chain and a DC, and then 1 DC, and I'm in my next corner. So again I've got a DC, a chain and a DC all from the same space. So I'm going right in that chain space and I'm going to create my second corner. Now I've got 2 DCs to work, and then I can join to my next leaf. Now technically my first DC should be in this stitch, but don't overthink that. Okay, you've worked that corner there, so we're just going to work our next DC into what kind of presents itself as the obvious stitch. Okay, so we'll do 1, 2 DCs, and now we're ready to skip the next 6 stitches. So these are all slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're ready to start work in that first DC on leaf number 1. So we've got 8 DCs to do. And we're going to continue working around the leaf now as we have previously, so you should be in the kind of the rhythm of that. So we'll pick this video up again when we're ready to join these 2 leaves. Coming up to our joins on leaf 1 and leaf 2, so I've just finished 4 DCs and I'm ready to start my 3 slip stitches. So find the corresponding stitches. So that's 1. 2. 3. So that's that join done, and then I've got 2 DCs. And then I can finish where I started, so I'm going to miss all of those slip stitches and I'm going to end with a slip stitch here where I started. And I'm just going to take that thread back through to the wrong side, so it's out of the way. So that completes your second outlining round. So it looks a little bit odd in those colours, but when you've worked it in your colours it should look a little bit more sensible. And so all you need to do now, and this is optional as well, you don't have to do this final round, but I've chosen to do an outlining round here like I did with the flowers, and I just think it helps to define the shape. You could play with doing this in different colours, although I've chosen to do it in the same colour as the leaves. So the next video we'll have a quick look at that. This outlining stitch is optional, but if you choose to do it, then you're going to start with a slip knot in your yarn, and you can start anywhere, and we're working between the first outlining round 1, and your actual leaf stitch, so in the spaces in between those 2 rounds. So we'll draw our slip knot through, and then we're just, as we did with our flowers, I've gone up a hook size, so I've worked this leaf on a 4.5mm hook, and so I'm going up to a 5mm for this because I just don't want to work it too tightly. And you're going into every stitch that you've worked into for your first outlining round, so you're just working into exactly the same number of stitches. So that's my last stitch, and I'll just close that round with a hand worked chain stitch. So I'm going to go through here, that's my first stitch, and then back to the wrong side. So that completes those two outlining rounds and that third outline. This is how it will look in the correct colours after it's been blocked. So that's had a light steam, so it's laying slightly flatter, and this is how it will look in the felted tweed. This one's not yet being blocked.